Hey gang, it's your boy Plant. Today I have a fun little video for you. Today we're going to talk about infinity bottles. This is kind of a new concept to me, just to be honest with you. However, I guess it's kind of a big thing in the whiskey world, even though you can do this with any spirit. It's predominantly big in the whiskey world. What is an infinity bottle? An infinity bottle basically is your own personal blend of different whiskeys. You could have as little as 2 to 3 or as many as 30 to 40. Really kind of is up to you. The base concept is that you'll have a separate bottle and you'll fill up various whiskeys, and that you'll taste your own blend, and then after a while when you drink it down you'll add more. And the bottle, you'll always have that bottle. It'll never get empty, and you'll always add new stuff, and that blend will just always change. It will always be an ever-evolving flavor profile. Really kind of cool concept. I'm just kind of finding out about this, so I thought, why not? Some people, what some people will do is they'll take, let's say I had an ounce left of that Evan Williams bottle and bond, put that in there. Then when I get down to the last couple ounces, the Old Overholt, put that in there. Old Granddad, last couple ounces, Four Roses, and you'll create your own, like I said, your own blend from your whiskey collection. You'll just take that. I'm real interested in this because I want to learn more about blending whiskeys. I've recently reviewed a blended whiskey, and that's a little different concept, but even you take something like a Jack Daniels or a Maker's Mark or whatever, they're doing blending even though it's one product. Maker's Mark, that's bourbon, but they're taking various barrels with different flavor profiles, and they have to combine them to get to that Maker's Mark taste or Jack Daniels taste. So there's even blending going on there, but then obviously, things like blended whiskey. I want to learn more about that. To be honest, I don't have the most sophisticated palate, so hopefully, exercises like this will help me with that. Speaking of which, I'll have a little whiskey right now. So anyway, that's why I'm kind of excited to do this. Now, this is my first time, so I don't know a lot, but I have found some tips that I want to share with you if you want to try your own infinity bottle. First off is you want to make sure you have good closure. This is a synthetic cork. It's important because think about this. You're going to be constantly opening and closing this bottle, adding new whiskey. You're planning on keeping this for infinity. And so you want a good closure. I originally thought about using my Four Roses bottle back there that is a real cork, but especially here in Nevada with the dry climate, the last thing I'd want is, having a nice blend of some real quality whiskeys and corking that thing, or that cork deteriorating, what have you. So make sure you have a good closure. You want a decent bottle. This is just a simple bottle. And when I get into my infinity bottle, you'll understand. But maybe a nice decanter if you have one. Again, that has a good seal, a good close to it. But make sure you have a nice little bottle too. Another thing to keep an eye out for is when you're doing your blend. Again, you can blend however you want, whatever your flavor profile. But realize it just takes one whiskey with either an extreme flavor profile or just one bad whiskey to really screw up that whole thing. Maybe a good example is if you get a real aggressive rye in your blend, or if you're doing with Scotch and you get one of those really peaty Islay Scotches, it's going to take a long time to get that flavor out. So, have fun, but be careful with your blends. Don't go for anything too extreme on the flavor profile. I also would encourage you, and you guys know I'm not a snob, a drinking snob, but I would encourage you no flavored whiskeys. I would hate to think that you had Basil Hayden, Booker's, Buffalo Trace, some real nice whiskeys in there, Michter's or something, and then you get to hear like, I'll just top it off with Fireball. I would avoid that. Now, if you want to do something fun, think, hey, I'll take the different cinnamon whiskeys out there, Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, Fireball, and do a fire whiskey blend. That could definitely be some fun, but I wouldn't dump in flavored whiskeys with other straight, good quality bourbon or Japanese whiskey. I would definitely avoid that. And lastly, I would keep notes, because you're creating this blend and you might stumble across the next great whiskey. You might do something as simple as like, I wonder what Jack Daniels and Jim Beam taste like together, and you do the blend and you're like, holy cow, this is great. Or maybe you start with that blend and you're like, oh, let me go with a Buffalo Trace, something more wheated bourbon. You're like, oh, that's a game changer. Keep track so you know what you got in there, and at least you'd have a shot to kind of replicate it. You'll want to take notes, and again, I think it'll be important for you as you're developing your palate. Like, oh wow, I added a high rye bourbon, and man, that flavor came out, and this flavor went away, and whatever. Just definitely keep records. And as far as that goes, there's an actual app out there. If you go to your app store, just type in Affinity Bottle, and there's an app that keeps track. You'll punch in, how much you're putting in, 2 ounces, 5 ounces, whatever. I think it may ask you even the proof of that whiskey, or it may have it known, like, again, Jack Daniels, or wherever it knows it's 80 proof, what have you. And it'll project out the ABV of what you got, because especially, the bourbon world's, cask strength, small batch, this, that, and the other. You can go from anywhere from 80 to 120, mid 120s, plus. So it will help you project out your ABV and also kind of give you notes on potential flavor profiles. And again, if you hit that right blend, you have that recorded. So that's really cool. Now, how am I going to go about my Infinity bottle? What's the game plan? Well, as you see, I have plenty of bottles, but they're all empty. I don't keep a ton of spirits in the house. Between the different meads and ciders and stuff, beer I brew at home and working at a bar, or I just don't keep a ton of stuff in the house. So I've decided I'm going to go it like this. I'm going to call this first one my North American Bargain Blend. Basically, the big North American whiskeys, at a reasonable price. So we're going to bring the folks from Canada down to America and do the blend. And I'm going to start my blend off with Seagrams 7. I recently did a video. I've got a little bit of it left, and it is a blended whiskey. So we're going to start off with Seagrams 7 as my base for this. Alright, we're just going to kill off that bottle. And again, remember, go on wasting. And remember, this was started in Canada and eventually now is produced in America. And then I'm going to add, my game plan for this is, luckily the bar I work at is right by a liquor store, and they sell a ton of these little minis, a wide variety. I'm really shocked at the variety of these. And so I thought this would be a fun little way to create this, get a lot of different whiskeys in there without having to spend $400 or $500 on this thing. So I'm going to add a little mini of Jack Daniels to that. All right. And then what I'm going to do from here, I hope you guys find fun. I'm going to, over the next couple of weeks, now it won't take as long, because one of the things you want to avoid is too much headspace left here. That could cause some oxidation. If when you drink out of it, refill it. You want to make sure to refill it, because you want to avoid possible oxidation. As long as you keep it up the neck, you should be fine. So, but what I'm going to do on this blend is every few days I'll update it. I'm wanting to learn how to do YouTube shorts. Supposedly that's a big deal now. So I'll put out a YouTube short each time I add one of these to the blend, so you can kind of see how I'm building the blend. And also I'll put it on my Instagram too. Just short form videos of me adding the next blend. And then when we get a full bottle, we'll come back and do a tasting and see how it worked out. If this works out well, we come up with something really cool, we might do a few more of these. Definitely would love your feedback on this, but I love just stopping at the liquor store and finding these. So what I'm going to do over the next couple of weeks is you might see a random post of me adding a bottle of this, bottle of that, until we fill up and finally create our North American Bargain Blend. I'm really looking forward to this. I've got some ideas for some other bottles, so if this works out, we may be doing a few more of these. And, you know, again, kind of cool. I learned about affinity bottles. I'm working on the YouTube short thing or whatever. Please, I would love some feedback, or, you know, maybe bourbon or some kind of whiskey, North American bargain whiskeys. You know, throw out the ideas, and we'll give her a try. And here in a couple of weeks, we will definitely have an interesting bottle of whiskey. Well, I hope you liked this video. And if you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or ideas for videos, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.